How's it going, everybody? David Hitch here, House Hitch Gaming, and today is a special video here on the channel. So up at Gen Con, I was able to run into a gentleman by the name of Keith Smith, who runs BuddyPal Games. And when I ran into him, he stopped me in the aisle on Sunday, and he was like, "Hey, I'm glad I was able to run into you. I want you to do a video for me." And that still just baffles my mind that I was able to run into him in the midst of over 80,000 people on the last day, last hour of the day. And it was great to meet him. He's really enthusiastic about games, and we traded business cards and everything. And he sent me a copy of a game that will be going up on Kickstarter very soon. And it's a different kind of deck building game. Because in most deck building games, you're trying to amass forces and you're trying to build these complicated engines and you're trying to defeat this major evil. But in this game here, you are trying to save the planet by finding alternate, efficient ways to power up the planet through solar power, wind power, and hydropower. And you're able to do this through going through a market and then going through a vault to find these different plans to score points. And I'll go more into that in this great game by BuddyPal Games that'll be hitting soon on Kickstarter, and that is Power Advance. All right, let us set up a game of Power Advance. Now, this deck building game, the objective is to either get, well, it depends on how many players you have. So say, for example, in a 2-player game, a player must reach 15 points or score 5 of a single type of card from the vault. And we'll go over those in just a second. But the setup for the game is very easy. Each player will get a starting deck of weaker cards they will use to purchase cards from the market and get access to the vault. So when setting up the game, you'll take the top 3 cards of the market deck, put them into the player board. Now, the reason why these 2 spots are empty is that cards will be able to be added to these spots later on during the game. Now, once everybody has their deck shuffled up and you have the market set up and the vault deck shuffled, then each player draws 4 cards, except for the first player, they draw 3 cards. Now, before we go into the play of the game, let's show you some of the cards that you'll be interacting with. So first, let's start at the starter deck. Now, these are the weaker cards that you'll be building your foundation on at the beginning of the game. Now, you will have cards that will be labeled 1 and 2. This is how much buying power you have to get cards from the market, but also to access the vault when you hit 7 buying power. Also, in your starting deck, you will see these cards that will be able to add cards to the market or block cards in the market. Now, with these, you're going to play these to add the amount of purchasing power, or you can scrap these, which basically means to completely get rid of them to your hand, deck, and discard, so it removes them from the game to do a special effect. So for this one, you can add a card to either end of the market, or you can use this card to scrap it and block your opponent from purchasing a card in the market for 1 turn. Now, that is a big thing, especially if there's a card you really want to get from the market. Now, next up are cards you will find in the market throughout the game. First up, we have control cards. Now, these cards can allow you to add a new card to the market and then remove one at the end of the turn. So, this would not only provide 2, but it will also add a card to the market and remove a card from the market. Now, you will also notice that this does have synergy at the bottom. When you draw your new hand and you have 2 cards that match a synergy, basically have this on the bottom, you get to draw an additional card. So think of it this way: if you draw 4 cards and each of those have synergy on the bottom, you get to draw 2 additional cards for that turn. Now, also, you have power-up cards. Now, power-up cards will basically be generators throughout each and every turn. So in this case, this will give you 3 buying power at the beginning of each of your turns. Now, there is 1 card that can affect these, and it'll definitely get you choked up. And that, my friends, is a Smog card. Now, for the Smog cards, when you purchase these will go into your opponent's deck. Now, these have no effects whatsoever to be beneficial to your opponent. However, when they are played, if they have a power-up, they have to recycle it, put it into a discard pile, and then this card will get to be discarded into a separate discard pile. So it's a one-time effect that can really be damaging if your opponent has any power-ups, and it will definitely take them out of service for a while. Now, some of the cards in the market, like this block card, will have set aside on the side of it. What this means that when you purchase this card, you can have this set aside in front of you, and you are able to use this card on a future turn. This does not go into your deck, so it will simply be just set aside, and then you can use it for that turn. This card can also be scrapped for 1 buying power in case you need it. So next up, let's take a look at some of the cards you will be encountering in the vault. Now, first off, these are the different types of ways we want to provide energy for the world. We have hydro, we have wind power, and solar power. Now, when you get these cards in the vault, these can actually provide points, or they can provide points when certain conditions are met. So for example, with the hydro and the wind power, these will provide 2 and 3 points respectively to get you closer to winning the game. Now, there are also cards in the deck that have the wild symbols on it. This can also give you 1 point, but this counts towards 1 of each. So next we have this trio of cards, which actually work against each other. So first off, we have Out of Service. Out of Service takes out 2 of your opponent's power-up cards. When it's used, it's discarded. Then your opponent could have a Shield from Out of Service. Now this card basically protects from this card and helps to make sure your power-ups stay around for a while. But you can get a Shield Crusher in the vault that will allow you to take out one of your opponent's shields so you can get to their power-ups. So this is definitely a very powerful game of rock, paper, scissors. Now the next card is not so fast. Usually when you go through the vault, you get to take a look at the top 2 cards and choose one that you would like. Now with this one, it can actually help you out by hindering your opponent because they can only look at 1 card each time that they use the vault for that turn. Now, this card gives you 6 buying power, but when you acquire it, it goes on top of your deck instead of going into your discard pile. So this is a lot of quick buying power right off the bat for your next turn. Now this card's real simple and easy. You get to take 1 card from the market without paying the cost and put it into your discard pile. When this card's used, you put it in the discard pile and you continue on with your turn. Now, the final 2 cards I want to show you from the vault are some really big ones. First off, this one right here, it's the World. It gives you 4 points right off the bat, and the objective is to help find ways to save the planet by providing alternate power sources to help it sustain longer. And finally, you have the Efficiency Upgrade card. Now, this is a wild card. Now, this also has free. Some of the other cards had free on it as well. What this means is that when you go through the vault and you reveal 2 cards that you would be able to choose from, if you reveal a free card, it automatically goes to you. So this way you get a free extra card on your vault trip, which is pretty cool. So if you reveal, say for example, you reveal the free card and then you reveal this card, you get to take them both. And that way, it's going to be a great start for you to get ready to win the game. Okay, now that we've gone over the cards, let's show you how to play the game. Now, we have the market deck shuffled up, 3 cards dealt to the market, and we have the vault deck ready to go. So, let's go over a couple turns. So I'm going to draw 3 cards, and we'll say I go first. It's a rare occurrence in games, but I figured why not with this demo. So I'm going to draw 3 cards, and I have 4 buying power right off the bat. So what I can do is I can buy this control card. So I'll pay 3, which the cost is up here in the top corner. Put it into my discard pile, so then when I get ready to shuffle my deck back up, it'll be thrown back in. And then I'll take the top card here, put it into the lineup for the market, discard the cards I played, and then I'd end my turn. So let's go through another one here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 buying power right there. Let's go on ahead and get this one here for 3 with the buying power 4. Put this the discard pile. And any card that gets bought from the market automatically gets put into the, gets replaced in the market. So now let's go ahead and draw our next 4 hand. We draw one card there. We'll go ahead and shuffle these up here. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so on this turn we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buying power. So what I can do is I can either buy stuff from here, like I can get this power up that lets me view 3 cards instead of 2 from the vault, or I can get this here to be able to set aside and lock out the vault later in the game. But let's show you what happens with the vault. So you can pay 7 and take a look at the top 2 cards and choose one of these to put into your discard pile, or if it's a point card or an efficiency card, it goes into your tableau to get ready for scoring at the end of the turn. Also helps you keep track of the scoring in general. So let's say in this case we were able to get this one because it's a free card, so it goes right to our tableau. And then we go on ahead and take this as well because this will be the choice that we have. Any cards that are free automatically go to us first, and then any cards left over is the ones we get to choose from. So in this case we get 2 cards for free and they go into the tableau. So that way we have 2 points, but also we have 2 hydro efficiencies ready to go. Now, if at any time you would look at 2 cards from the vault, like say for example, let's see what we got here. We have these 2 here. You get to choose one of them. So say in this situation, I would choose a wind, put this into play. The other card stays in this area known as the grid. So the next time you or your opponent goes to the vault, you must purchase something from the grid as long as there's a point card here. If there's a point card here, you must get it. If there is not, then you get to go through and get the next 2 cards or whatever card you're looking at in the vault, depending on if you have any power-ups. Now, let's say this card gets blocked. So, say this gets scrapped and gets blocked here. So, what that does is that if a grid card is blocked, it cannot be acquired. So then you can bypass the blocked card and go for the vault itself. Now this also helps on your turn as well, because if you want to protect this card and get it the next time you are able to, and you see that coming, or you have a good feeling it's going to happen, then you can block that card, and then your opponent must take the top 2 from the vault, and they cannot touch this one until it is unblocked, which would be at the start of your next turn. Now, play will progress throughout the game. You'll be acquiring cards in the market, acquiring special cards from the vault, gathering efficiencies and upgrades, and the player that reaches the amount of points depending on the number of players or the number of efficiencies wins the game. So for this example, if it was a 2-player game, I would have to reach 15 points, or I would have to reach 5 of any one kind of efficiency. And that is how you play Power Advance from BuddyPal Games. Well, there you have it. That is Power Advance from BuddyPal Games. And this is very special to me, because this is a prototype of the game. So the components are not finished yet. And it's something that actually will stick with me for a while, because this is the first time I'm able to review a game that is not even out yet, and it's going to be hitting Kickstarter, and I get to show you guys this game, and it's so awesome, and I love it. And I gotta thank them, Keith Smith and BuddyPal Games, for giving me the opportunity to show you this game. It is truly a remarkable deck building game. It's a whole lot different from any other deck building games out there. A lot of them, you're trying to stop the villains, you're trying to amass armies, you're trying to build these complex engines and all. But in this game, you're trying to save the planet. And even though you're going against your opponents, you all have the same goal. You're trying to race and see who can get the most points, or 5 of an efficiency, or whatever number you need, depending on the players you have in your game. But you're all reaching for the goal of the first person to find the best way to save the planet by using hydropower, wind power, and solar power. And I think that's a great message, because the way the world is right now, especially with how climate change is, A lot of people are concerned. There's still people that just sweep it under the rug. And this is one of those games that definitely sends out a positive message. At the same time, it's easy to learn, easy to play, and it is a great way for players who are new to deck building. They can start with this one and not only get into the deck building genre, but also be able to get a message from it. And that message is, we got one planet. That's all we got. And we got to do what we can to save it. And there are a lot of other energy resources that unfortunately we don't really use in mass scale. And hopefully one day we will. But this game definitely sends that message in a fun, creative way. And I thank you again, Keith Smith and BuddyPal Games, for giving me the opportunity to show this prototype of this game that will be soon hitting Kickstarter. And when it does, I will let you know through Facebook, let you know here on YouTube, because I will definitely be checking it out and I will be spreading the word of it as much as I can, because it is such a great and unique game. And I can't say enough about being able to do this video. It is indeed an honor for me, and I thank you all so much. But thank you for checking out this video. If you like it, please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and let everyone know that House Hedge Gaming is here for all of your gaming needs. So until next time, everyone, stay safe and take care, my friends.